Oh.
Oh.
Ah. Ooh.
That's a lot to digest. Alster, it's too much, man. I mean, we thought we've had big weeks, right? But this is the biggest week of all. I mean, pure chaos, left, right, and center. Look, so much to unpack, Alster. But first, I mean, we have to talk about the other big thing that happens this week. Like, there's the update. Yeah, it's this big, but you came freaking second in All Star Super Rare. Can we just talk about that for a second, please?
I mean, talk about the media cycle. Like, God, I can't get a win here. Everyone's talking about this other bloody roadmap. Why is everyone not stopping and celebrating me for a second?
Hey everyone! Come and see how good I look!
Yeah, no, got a win. Yeah, felt good all the way up until the moment of opening my actual reward, which then it felt bad, man. Sorare have just absolutely bummed me again. Really shook my confidence in the super rare division, if it wasn't already shook enough.
Well, Alster, they've given out that reward, and then they've said, you know what, let's change it all up. It's not working the current format. Let's literally change the game completely. I mean, how do you want to tackle this? How do you want to try and break down this new update? I don't think we need to go through it step by step. That's been done to death. How should we tackle this beast that is the new roadmap?
Okay, well, I think everyone out there will have by now surely have read it. Some people are panicking. People are selling their galleries. Some people love it. Some people hate it. I think we can all agree that it's made us think. I think for a lot of people, it's got people going a bit. Like, it's engaged people. People are thinking about their so rare galleries again. Some people are kind of, I've got a lot of thinking to do. Other people, just kind of thinking about how they might be able to tweak things here and there. We'll get into all that, but I think we should maybe just, for anyone who can't read or just wants like the TLDR, let's just go through kind of like the main, well, we'll probably miss a few things, but let's go through the main changes that came out of this roadmap. So, threshold gone, obviously.
No.
In August.
Big.
Still got till August to try and farm some threshies. We'll talk about the kind of changes they've made to that and whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. But after August, she's gone, baby. They're splitting up the comps. So we've now got two different versions. We've got in-season, which is new season cards, and you can play them in the in-season tournaments to win cash. You can also then enter the classic version of the same tournament, and that you can put any card you want in there. Can't win cash, but you can win new season cards. So their whole point of that is like they're trying to create this simple progression, I suppose, of use old cards to win new cards to win cash, which I think makes sense. Okay. They've scrapped all the leagues. No more Champ Asia. No more Champ America. Thank God we don't have a Champ America podcast. Otherwise, we'd be out in the street and we'd be without a job.
Yeah, you're right. The Australian-based podcast, way more appropriate. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. We've now got 3 new leagues. So we've got Champion, which is Champion. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. Now we've got Challenger and Contender. No, sorry, Challengers and Contenders. Bit of controversy about the way that they've split the leagues. Their whole point is that I guess they're trying to create the leagues to mirror the real world. So Champion being the best, what you should strive for, Challengers being the kind of they're on their way up, and then Contenders being the shitbirds that nobody cares about. Just joking. Again, we'll talk about that. It's all to talk about, Simon. Divisions have been introduced. Scosmo's now a multi-millionaire for selling the rights to his idea. Divisions are coming. I'm very excited about that. I think that's going to be super interesting. Reward boxes are now going to be available in all scarcities, Simon. very exciting. We're looking at elite boxes, super rare boxes. There's cards. There's NFT logos. There's coins. Oh, I can't wait. It says in the roadmap that they're going to have like weekly challenges. I don't know what that means. Rare Plus is gone, which is that's pretty big news. And the K League's back, full scoring for the K League. Did I miss anything, Simon?
Look, I mean, there's probably some things in there, but I don't think I can take it any longer. I need to delve deeper into this, because obviously after last week, we had the intervention, because here I was like, I'm back, I'm buying rares, I'm dipping my toes back into the, Sorare world, and I was going to go get myself some plotters, and you said, no, let's hold the horses, changes are coming, plotters are out, the new style of play is in, and my God, it's a good thing that I didn't go and buy those plotters. I was literally about to go buy an Asia stack, Asian players to play in Champ Asia. No one's playing it. It's easier to win. You're winning shitter cards, but you can win more often. That's now completely flipped on its head. So I feel like the lack of thresholds and the new divisions, that's a pretty big change. Pretty big change.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked in the past about how you shouldn't listen to me, but thank God you did, because you would be a very sad boy right now if you were sitting there with your, Diego Chara rare being like, I don't see how this is going to benefit me in any way whatsoever. So dodged the bullet there. Now, I think, Simon, like, obviously every man and his dog has got an opinion. I mean, we can talk about some of the great Twitter opinions out there, people, having panic attacks. But I thought no one is really, in the content sphere, no one's really looking at this from a new user's perspective. I mean, some people are going like, oh, look, this is way too complicated for a new user. Yeah, whatever. You're essentially a new user, Simon. Like, yes, you've got some limiteds, and, you were just about to dive back into rares. You're about to, you quit the platform in a sea of drama for about 2 months. You're back.
Why does it matter? People would be happier if I just did it.
That's not true. No one would be happier. This kid, oh my God.
You've got a whole... this is all ahead of you now. You don't have to worry about, oh, shit, I've been farming threshies and now my whole gallery's shit. Or, oh, God, I've got all these players that are now mixed up amongst the leagues. You don't have to worry about that. You've got a clean slate. So when you first read this, how did you feel? What were your just initial first instincts?
Well, I don't like change, so I immediately, created Twitter storms.
I'm scared.
Got into verbal arguments on Twitter. I yelled at my wife.
Just a quick segue there, just to paint a picture for Simon's state of mind when this came out. I called him, and he was midway through reading. To be fair, he hadn't had his coffee yet. He was reading the 19 pages of the Sorare update, and I was like, "Look, I think these changes are for the good of Sorare." And you were like, "What are you, Hitler?" You called me Hitler for showing some excitement about the Sorare roadmap plan. So maybe you were just in a mad mood, but.
Look, you were using words like better, it's for the good of the Sorare society, all these phrases that I just thought was some, sort of triggered me a little bit. But look,
Einrichtung überhaupt aufzulösen und den kleinen Rest der ihm verbliebenen Waffen zu zerstören, wenn die anliegenden Nationen ebenso restlos das
I calmed down a bit. I think, to be honest, from a new user perspective, I think I'm in a very good spot. Because starting fresh, I can sort of assess which avenue I want to go down. I think this new roadmap allows new users to pick how they want to play. I'm going to be honest, I am a little bit disheartened about the thresholds, because for me, that was such a good way to... I was actually really keen to get back into rares, and if I wasn't competing for the top of the prize pools, at least I could pick up some guys that had upside, and I could run them in threshold teams for a little while, build up some ETH before trying to make the step up and, buy myself a show and some of those guys. I will say this, though. I do think that for a new user, you mentioned there, it's too confusing. I think that the divisions and the regions I do think it's a really good move for a new user, because the thing that I always struggle with coming in, I could never recommend to my friends, like, go play Sorare. Because it's like, go play Sorare. Put a team in All-Star and you're competing against every man his dog. There's Wales, there's Kevin De Bruyne's, like, you didn't stand a chance. So I do like the fact that if you're a plotter, a plotter of a Sorare manager, and you're in Div 4, look, you're going to win shit rewards. Let's be honest. They can try and sprinkle their fairy dust over as much as they want. They're going to be shit rewards, but at least you can get that winning feeling. I want a Matt Polster, a Matt bloody Polster when I first started playing Elsa, and I was stoked. So I think capturing that, naive excitement is going to be very key to bringing on those new users.
Yeah. I think just on that point you made about the explaining it to friends, the way they've tried to now set it up so it kind of mirrors real life a little bit more in terms of the leagues are kind of, you're aiming to head towards champion. That's kind of the pinnacle of the game. They've made that very clear. And also with the divisions and that kind of thing. Like, I remember with so many people that I've introduced to Sorare, they're like, oh, okay, I'll go and buy a Casemiro. He's a good player. Or I'll go and buy name some kind of mediocre Premier League player. And they're like, oh, no, you don't want to do that. What you want to do is you want to buy Carlos Heel, who plays for the New England Revolution, because that's the only way to win is to buy Carlos Heel and Marvin Wannitzek. Otherwise, you're going to lose. Everyone's like, huh, that doesn't grab people. People want to kind of buy the players they know, and I think this kind of reflects that now a little bit and creates a bit more of an aspirational halo around those players who are playing at in the actual top leagues.
Yeah, and I think that as for the split comps, like the new season, old season cards, to be honest, that doesn't worry me too much, because I felt like as a new user, look, unless I'm going for a strategy of buying new season cards, which they'd sort of were leaning towards with the collection bonus, the new season bonus, I believe. So to be honest, like, using old season cards to win new cards, if you want to sell them, you can. Like, to be honest, I don't see a massive issue with that. But I do hear, before everyone starts throwing pitchforks at me, I do hear if you've got an established gallery and you've got cards from different what do you call it? Different, one from the 2024 season, one from the 2022, and now they're all split up. I understand the frustration there.
Well, they're not split up in that you can still use the new cards in Classic. It's just, and I would have to confirm this, but I'm pretty sure in the in-season competitions, you don't win cards, you only win ETH. So I might be wrong there. Let me just look that up. I'm pretty sure I don't know if there's card rewards. So if there's no card rewards in season, then, if you want to, obviously if you win cash, you can go and buy the players you want. But, I look at winning cards as much the same thing. If you don't like them, sell them. If you do, then you've grown your gallery. It's great, and you can discover new players that way. So, what are we talking about? Yeah, I don't think the split. I think, I think a lot of people's knee-jerk reaction was one of like, oh, I've been fucked. Like, Sorare has fucked me. I was coasting, I had my gallery, and now if I want to play these other competitions, I've got to buy new cards. It was the same reaction when they did the Premier League in-season tournament, where they were like, you have to buy 4 new cards, and everyone's like, well, I've already got these cards. I don't think that's... Bigger picture, I don't think that's good for Sorare if no one's buying new cards, because it just means the supply gets greater, the demand gets lower because no one wants to buy new cards, and there's no incentive to buy new cards. The only incentive was there to play thresholds, and I would rather... Look, put it this way, I'm kind of excited about spending money and building my gallery now, whereas previously I was like, I'm happy to coast. I'm happy to just keep pulling in these threshies and... but I think I knew in the back of my head that Sorare was burning down around me. I mean, look at everyone's gallery values. I think there's a correlation there.
That's something I said to you the other day. Like, if Sorare's on the downward spiral, which, take off the rose-tinted glasses, it probably has been for a little while, a change like this, like, something needed to change. If we just kept doing the same thing, that's the definition of insanity and expecting things to change. it could be the chance to move in the right direction. I'm going to be honest. So this new threshold, mate, as a new user,
Yep.
threshold was the best way to dip your toes into the world of Sorare.
Yep.
I think it's a little bit stupid. Like they're still trying to say, "Oh, there's a threshold," but I mean,
Yeah.
some of
Yeah,
the targets that they've got are like ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, the super rare one, just to like talk about myself for a second, they've cut the like the normal threshold. They've lowered it by 10 points. Whether that's going to make it that much easier, I'm not sure. Maybe. But you now get $60 instead of 200. Bit of a drop off. And then you've got to try and aim for 400 points, but you win $320 or 460 points, and you win $1,000.
It's a trap!
Which is like, you've got some balls of steel if you're going for that $1,000. I mean, hey, maybe there's a strategy there. Maybe I'm hoping there's someone out there that's just like, I'm going for the 1,000 every single week, and if I hit, then I'm sweet. But yeah, they've nerfed it. Thresholds aren't going to be great for the next couple of months, but at the end of the day, the thresholds, I do think it was killing Sorare a little bit because, I love Sorare, and I was getting to a point where I was just like, yep, I've got to prioritize my thresholds. I was losing a bit of interest because it was just like, yep, play the threshold every week. Even when I compete and win in the other tournaments, I don't get any good rewards anyway. So the threshold's all I got. So taking that away and adding all these new things to kind of consider has really reinvigorated me.
And I think that overall, I think it's pretty good. The big issue for me, I think, and I don't know if you feel the same, is now people's cards are split across different regions. So, for example, your Hyunmin Son super rare. Super rares are bloody hard to buy, and they're hard to get good ones. And you've got your gallery to a point where you've got a Hyunmin Son super rare, but now it's completely worthless because you would normally play it with your Sho Sasaki, and that's in a completely different region. Like, that's a pretty hard pill to swallow for galleries that have spent a lot of money on their cards.
Yeah, it's the first thing that I thought of was like, oh man, I'm not going to be able to use my Hyungmin Son. I mean, I've got a primarily challengers gallery, and maybe that's my fault for not, for cheaping out and buying, J League players that score just as good as, Trent Alexander-Arnold. So I guess I'm in a fork in the road, so I can either go and buy.
Don't take a victim mindset.
I can. I've got two options. I can either go and buy a bunch of champion super rares. I could try and liquidate all my other super rares and go full hog into champion, or I can sell Hyungmin Son, hopefully for a bit of a premium. I mean, the upside of all this is that surely my Hyungmin Son is now more valuable than he was previously. And then go and, just really focus on challenges and try and smash it. So it's a bit of a downside, but I think ultimately I quite like, because I was at this point where I was like, right, I need 3 more midfielders to make my Champ America team strong enough, or I need to get a stronger challenger forward. Whereas now it's just kind of taken that off the table, and I can just have my gallery and I can plug in multiple teams into the challenger tournament every week. So yeah, silver lining is that hopefully that Hyungmin Son is going to be valuable now. I can get a good price for it, and I can go and buy some wicked cards that suit my division.
Yeah, and I just think it simplifies the game a little bit. Like you said before about, a new user comes on, I should get a Casemiro, but no, you need to buy a Carlos Hill. I think splitting it up into the divisions for the new users, it is beneficial because now I've got such a clear strategy of like, okay, yep, I'm going to focus on J League. I'm going to get to know that league. I can sort of stay in that lane. I understand Quinny's point where he's saying that one of the best things about Sorare is being able to bring people in and buy cards from different leagues and run them together. But yeah,
which you can still do until August. They've still got the All-Star tournament until August, so that's heaps of time. I think a lot of people are freaking out and not quite taking into consideration that like you've got till the end of March to like continue playing All-Star, Rare Pro, and the tournaments you currently play, and make the moves you need to make. And then they're not completely changing at the end of March. You can still play All-Star cap modes until August. So there's time to still do that. But I think might be an unpopular opinion, but I think I agree that you shouldn't be able to win like a Jude Bellingham with a Carlos Heel and a Sho Sasaki. I mean, I get that's a cool story to be like, yeah, I bought this player from J League and he won me this. Like, that's cool. But it's also like, should you really be rewarded like that for buying a card that just happens to dominate a weak league? I don't know.
Well, this is ironic as well, though, because I mean, look at you, mate. Last week, your super rare team was the world's worst podium finishing team I've ever seen in my life. Like, your headliner was a Julian Dessart, and then like a 50-year-old Darwin Quintero in a random league, and you're sandwiched between people that have gone out and spent the money to buy a De Bruyne, a Haaland super rare, a Griezmann unique.
It made quite a picture. Conspiracy theory here, Simon. So, for those who don't know, I opened my reward a tier 1 super rare. So that I was really banking on this to be a card that I would keep in my gallery for a long time. It was going to bolster my gallery. It was going to strengthen it. I was looking through the tier 1 pool. I was like, oh, look, there's a couple of U20 wonder kids in there, like Matiz Tell from Bayern. I was like, oh, I really don't want that because, he doesn't actually score well. He's got loads of potential, but you know what we say about potential boys. I'd like to. I'm beginning to think that maybe Sorare saw the lineup that I put in to come second. They were like, "Mate, fuck you. You can't win it. You can't. We're not giving you a tier 1 super rare with those cards. You just got lucky. We're going to give you the worst possible tier 1 we could, which is I won a 20-year-old keeper who plays in the 2nd division of Bundesliga. He's not even the first choice keeper there. He's just filling in while the main keeper is injured. Like, it was the worst possible reward that I could have got out of that pool. It really, thank God there was some ETH thrown in there because it was quite deflating. But I now believe that maybe it's just because they looked at it and they're like, you didn't spend any money to win this. You don't deserve a good card.
Yeah, it would have been quite funny for the guy that got pipped for second. Just like a real like cool runnings kind of moment, You've been doing bobsledding your whole life, and then here comes the Jamaican bobsled team and just pips you over the line.
Feel the rhythm. Feel the rhyme. Get on up. It's bobsled time. Cool running.
That's a great analogy. Yeah, totally. Okay, back to the roadmap. So, again, I want to get a feel for. I don't want to talk too much about my situation. I want to talk about how this has affected your thinking for your new strategy. So, divisions. Good, bad, indifferent? How do you feel about divisions?
I think I need a little bit more clarity on it. What division would I be in?
For you. So you would start, especially if you just started with some rares, you'd start at the bottom, I'd say.
How does it work? How do you get ranked?
So basically, apparently it's every game week. And they've got some percentages there. So at the end of every game week, depending on your division, the top 25% get promoted to the division above, and the bottom 25% get relegated. It varies depending on what one you're in. So, like if you're in Division 1, it's the bottom 50% that get relegated. So, if you have a bad game week, next week you're playing in the division below. Now, the rewards in each division are better depending on what division you're in. So, if you're in, let's say, Division 5 in Rare, it's the lowest one, you will, I think they've got the prizes here, you'll be competing for, there's still like good rewards if you podium, if you win the division for the week, but most of the rewards are like your Tier 3s, Tier 4s, Tier 5s. And then obviously you get up into Division 1, that's where you're getting just much better rewards. And then the new addition that I'm very excited about is you can also win loot boxes as part of playing every week with Sorare, which I think is exciting.
Okay, but what's stopping people from doing the strategy of having a really good gallery, tanking 1 week where you might not have favorable matchups, so you drop down to a lower division, and you
Yep.
know you've got the cards to win that division, so you can get a podium.
That remember that like it's not when they say division, it's just the people you're playing against. So like if you're in Division 1, you're up against the big boys, you're up against the whales. So it's going to be harder to win, but if you do win, the payoff is much better. So yes, you could tank and go down, and it's kind of like my Div 3 soccer team every year. Like when we won the premiership a few years ago, and everyone was like, "Should we go up to Div 2?" And everyone was like, "Nah, let's just win it again in Div 3." So I don't want to have to try, and I don't want to come bottom of the table in Div 2. I want to win Div 3. So, yes, you could play that tactic, but then if those cards do bang, then you're not going to win the best cards, and you're not going to get the best reward boxes.
True.
So the other thing to consider in here, Simon, which I don't know if you have, because a lot of people have raised the question of like, how is this helping progression? Like, they've taken away Rare Pro. You can't, there's no kickoff anymore. So how do I get, if I'm in rares, how do I get to super rare? Do I have to just go and buy super rares? And the real answer is yes. But the way they've put it is, if you're in Division 1, in the reward box that you can win if you finish in the top 25, 30%, there's super rares in there. And same for limited, there's rares, and super rares, there's unique. So you only get that opportunity to buy the scarcity up if you're in the Division 1 of your chosen tournament.
Okay, I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
And for someone like you, and I mean, let's just say you did buy those plotters, I still don't think all is lost for you, because it might be harder for you to progress up the divisions, and you might be playing for weaker rewards each week. But remember, I'll find these bloody rewards. Where are you? Where are you, mate? Here we go. Okay, so let's say you're in Division 4. Take my glasses off. Okay, so if you come first in Division 4, you get a Tier 1 rare. If you come top 5, you get Tier 2. Top 10, Tier 3. 25, Tier 4. 45, Tier 5. And that's just that. Those are not the final prize pools. But then the top 25% get a box. Top 5% get a box, and the top 10% get an elite box. So I'm assuming there's going to be better rewards in the better boxes. So it's kind of like those weeks where you would do well, but you just finish outside the prizes. In this situation, you would still get a box at least.
And I get coins, because that's what they're going to give us.
And you get coins.
Nice.
Now,
fantastic.
And then obviously your goal really should be to get up to Div 3, because they pay out more rewards. They pay out to the top 100. You can win a star. The boxes are better. And then, of course, it just keeps going up and up. So, like, if you're in Division 1, you're playing against less people, so you've probably got quite a good chance of winning, but the card rewards you win will be better. So if you had bought those plotters, you might just be battling it out in Division 3 and 4 for your entire career, and that's not fun. And again, then your incentive is to just go and buy some better cards, and that's kind of good.
See, I like it, yeah. I think if you are new to the game, because to be honest, if you've got years of experience playing Sorare, unless you're bad at Sorare like me, you should be better than a new user that comes onto the platform. So new users in Division 4 getting to play against new users or bad users, it's a much more level playing field. And yes, like you said, you're not going to be winning great rewards, but at least you're winning something. Whereas at the moment, I think if you just go in and play, you're probably, unless you spend a lot of money, you're probably going to struggle. So I don't mind that. The reward boxes, I feel like there's a little bit of fluff around that. Like, you guys just love the reward boxes so much, so we're bringing them in. Like, yeah, well,
I do love the reward boxes. I mean, I mean, just think about the sweat we've had playing Rivals because we want to open that box. We know we're going to get fucking arena tickets. We know that, and we know it's not. And even if we did it, even if we got limited, we aren't going to care about it. But I want the box. I want to open it. Got excited there.
Fair.
What I think they could do, which would really kind of blow things open a little bit, is add some small amounts of cash into the reward boxes. I think that would really get people going. Doesn't have to be a lot. In Rare, the jackpot could be $50, but it could be like $10, $15, whatever. I think that would get people really because you think about, you can now enter as many teams as you want, in the. I think it is capped, I think, but you can enter multiple teams. Think about if you know that there's an opportunity of like opening a reward box and there's cash in there. All of a sudden, you're going to try and build as many teams as you can to try and increase your chances of farming ETH through the reward boxes. Even though you've only got a chance of doing it, again, it's incentivizing people to go out and spend money without being like just guaranteeing, I'm going to give you $200 or $150 or whatever it is every week.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
going back to your plotters thing, if you did have if you had the threshold available to you, what incentive do you have to go and buy good players? None. Absolutely none.
Yeah.
Whereas with this, it's like you're playing in the division, you get a little bit of a carrot because, you're playing against, and you should have an advantage over the people you're playing in Division 5. I'm sure you'll get out of that pretty quick. And then you've got that incentive to try and move up, So you might find yourself going, I might put a couple of $100 on, buy myself a X, Y, and Z.
I really do sympathise with those with big galleries, but I mean, this new update, it really is great for new users, I must be said. It's a little bit concerning that they just like scrap like all their progression. Remember they listed out how you progress and you do all these different steps, like just how rubbish that was. I feel like they're constantly chopping and changing and they're kind of putting all their faith in rivals. But I think, Alistair, that I'm surprised Sorare didn't consult us first. I thought, if they came and talked to us, we could have given them some really good feedback. I'm thinking instead of reward boxes, you get to spin a lunch wheel. Like, let's make lunch wheel a mainstream thing. Sorare, you can spin a lunch wheel, whatever it is, they'll deposit that equivalent of ETH. You can buy now on Rivals. It's a buy now feature on lunch wheel. They deposit the ETH or the euros into your account. You go get your burrito. I think that's a great way to integrate real life with the new users and get people on board with this new rollout.
Yeah, totally. I mean, boxes are great, but a wheel, come on. It's all about the medium. People love a wheel. Make it giant. Make it huge.
Also, hang on just a second. Alistair, you need to eat 12 eggs. You just so much has happened. I'll give you that, but you owe me a lunch. You got 12 eggs on the lunch wheel.
I know. I keep buying eggs and then they keep being used in the household. So I do need to buy. This weekend I will make a special video of me eating 12 eggs. I don't know how I'm gonna eat them yet. Might just drink them. I don't know. That might be weird. The possibilities are endless. Okay, this weekend the eggs are happening.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
That's good.
All right. Let's talk about. Yeah, go on. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was about to say the same thing. I feel like we've wrapped up the new changes.
Yeah. I don't think we could ever fully wrap them up. There's so many there. How do you feel about where's your head at in terms of your strategy now? Now that you know that, like, if you were to go into Asia, for example, you will be playing against K-League, Liga MX, Argentina, Austria, blah, blah, blah. How do you feel about the fact that, that's kind of your cap? If you continue to just play J-League, your cap is winning those players. Do you feel like that's, or are you tempted now again by the MLS, knowing that you could potentially win like Eredivisie, Jupiler League cards from that division? I'm assuming you're not going to go buy a bunch of champion rares.
No. I don't, to be honest, I don't think it moves the needle too much. Given my strategy was to win Asian players, potentially even K-League players before the K-League got back onboarded. So I think I don't think it changes the strategy too much. To be honest, the lure of winning an Eredivisie player, I don't think it holds as much weight as you think it does, because I know there's some top tier guys out there, but there's also a lot of plotters in the Eredivisie as well. I don't think that's all that much different to the Argentinian league.
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day because I'm sure there was a lot of chatter about MLS cards got a boost and you can win Joey Veerman with your MLS cards, whereas you can't do that in contenders. But you've also, if you're in the Challengers division, you're competing against Joey Veerman, and you might have Houston versus Seattle, and you have no idea what's going to happen. You can't pick the outcome whatsoever, and you're up against someone who might have a PSV stack against the bottom of the table, and it's going to be a 6-0 thrashing. So you kind of run into that same issue that we have every week, which is like, oh, Bayern stacks smashed everyone again. Whereas in the contenders, I don't think there's a league in there that really like stands out as being just like a one-sided, oh, there's 5 teams that just crush. I don't think there is anyway. Maybe the championships and Challenger. So I think you do have a much more even playing field if you choose to focus on contenders. And I think J-League, in terms of so rare scoring, is probably one of the stronger ones.
I think so, yeah. Gallery, like card value prices of Challenger, do you think that they take a big dip now? That, for example, you can't use your Sho Sasaki with your champ guys. Does that lose their appeal a little bit?
Yeah, totally. I think I've still got enough players. I think I might be. Well, I think I might be short a super rare goalie now for contender. Again, like 80% of my cards are in Challenger, so my Sho is a bit of a. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with him. I think. Oh, it's tough. But yeah, I think some players from the Challenger leagues, I think their value will go up. Like I said, I think MLS values will go up, and I think we will see a bit of a drop in all the contender leagues, which I think is good for you because you're about to buy in, and you can maybe go and pick up some cards. Hopefully maybe a bit of a discount from people who are now, shedding their contender cards to focus on another league.
It's definitely a good thing I didn't pick up my Japanese boys. But what you're saying, Alster, is that my Jordan Shaqiri, which I did hold on to, is going to the moon.
Going to the moon, yeah, absolutely, yeah. You want to win,
rich.
Hans Vanaken with Sheridan? Now's your chance.
Yeah.
I like it, and I also like the fact that I think I mentioned it earlier. I no longer have to think about the divisions were so restrictive. It's like, oh man, I don't have a challenger midfielder. Like I've got all these, Champ America midfielders that I could just slot in there that I've got lying around, but I can't. Whereas now I can do that, which I think is great. Another point as well, something we didn't mention in the kind of TLDR. You can now use scarcities in the competition below. Obviously, no real competitive advantage there, I would say, but it definitely does create. It solves a lot of headaches those weeks where you're like, let's say, Simon, you've got your limited boys. Man City are playing and Dominic Calvert-Lewin's playing, but Liverpool aren't playing. But you've got some rares that you can just put into that limited team. They might not be super strong, but at least you can now field one full team. Whereas previously you might have had 2 incomplete teams in each scarcity. So I think that's a good move.
Yeah. Where do I go from here? We're saying it's well mapped out for the new user. I can sort of pick my poison in terms of what I want to go into. Without threshold, as that was kind of where I was going to lean in, do I still pick up my Japanese guys with upside and just be the king of the shit kickers?
Well, this is an interesting point that we were going to discuss as well. So everyone's having a panic attack about old season cards losing value now. They're useless. Old mate fans rare on Twitter chucked the dummy out, sold his gallery at like a 40% discount because he's like, old cards are now useless, which is the overreaction of the year. They haven't changed at all. You could still play them to win cards. Yes, you could win some cash a bit lower down the prize pool in some competitions, like previously. Now it's just, if you want to play for just cash, you just have to buy new ones. It makes sense. How are they going to pay for those cash rewards? So I think this creates a bit of an interesting strategy fork for you, Simon, where I don't know how they're going to do it with the J League because they should be dropping new cards relatively soon. Do you wait until the new season cards are out and then play your J League players in the contender in season and play for cash? and that can be your way to try and earn some cash? Or do you try and buy some old season cards at a bit of a bargain to play in the classic tournaments and eventually work your way up to playing for cash tournaments?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. My only worry with the new in-season cards, I wonder if it's going to be a bit like when they gave out the new season card bonus. Do you remember that sort of period? There's a couple of weeks there where people were paying well overs for cards so they could get the new season bonus, and then it sort of eventually died off a little bit. I wonder whether the best strategy in a way is to sort of sit back and just see how the market goes, because if old season cards drop dramatically in value, I think swoop in and pick them up. But I wouldn't want to be one of the first people to go out and buy new season J League cards and then the value sort of return back to the norm. Does that make sense?
I don't think if it was me, Simon, and I was starting as you are, I would go and get the old season cards now while people are panicking. See if you can get some discounts on people who are just trying to do fire sales. Have a quick search for galleries that have got sale or selling my gallery in their title, and try and pick up a few bargains.
Good shout.
Because I think the in-season tournaments I think are going to be quite competitive. I think people love cash, so they're going to try and win it, and people seem to be put off the idea of, I'm just playing for cards, as if that hasn't been what we've been doing for the entirety of Sorare. Like, all of a sudden, that's just a disgusting idea that I should play for only cards. Play in the Contender Classic, win some new season cards, which will now be at a premium, and this goes back to the whole threshold versus no threshold thing. If you've got to buy new cards to play these tournaments, and there's all these divisions that you can progress up, and you're incentivized to go out, and you'd have to think that has a positive effect on the prices, especially of new cards. Old cards might kind of stay about the same, but you'd have to think that good players in the new season edition get a bit of a price bump. And I would so much rather have my gallery value go back up again than continue to farm thresholds every week. So maybe you just need to be like, yep, I'm going to play my old 2019 J-League boys and, win some fresh shiny boys and sell them. If you just want to earn cash and you don't want to build your gallery out, sell every reward you win. And hopefully it'll be worth more than it has been for the last 8 months.
One thing I do worry about with these new divisions, Alistair, does liquidity become a massive issue? I win a new season Mexican or a Japanese fella, but now that it's just channeled off to just you got to play in your competition, are they just going to be impossible to sell?
The new ones, why would they be impossible to sell?
No, but the players from the contender leagues, no one will want them unless
you can still win
quite
good. You can still win quite good amounts of cash in the contender leagues, in the in-season contender leagues.
No. I'm saying if I win cards, are those cards in the contender division? Will the liquidity of those rares, will they be harder to sell now, because you can't just sell them to old Joe Briggs who's playing All-Star and wants to pick up a player? You've now got to sell to the specific type of people that want to focus on contender only.
You can use new season cards in Classic as well. So, no, I don't think there's going to be any...
No. Oh, my gosh. No, I'm saying the regions. The region. If you're playing Challenger, you've got no interest in buying a contender card, no matter how good of a scorer it is. It could be Sho Sasaki for all you know.
Yeah, but that's
it means
no different.
Nothing to you.
Simon, that's no different to what it is currently. It
is different.
If I only play America and you win a Sho Sasaki, I'm not going to buy it from you. It's further. More. It's exactly the same, Simon. I don't see what you're talking about here.
There's All-Star, there's Rare Pro, there's all these other these avenues that you can use cards from all around the world. Whereas now you're purely focusing on Challenger.
Well, I didn't know all that, so I'm sorry.
I mean, it might limit it a little bit, but I think the people who want them will want them, and if anything, if you're just playing contender, the value of a Sho Sasaki, as we're using him as our poster boy, goes up. Because there's I don't know. If you want to dominate contender, that's the kind of player you want. He might be the best player in contender. So all of a sudden,
I get that.
People want to win. They want to win contender, and all of a sudden, you don't need to win a Trent to have the most valuable player in the competition. So it might have affected liquidity a little bit, but I don't think you're going to be like struggling to sell it because there's going to be a lot of people playing contender. That's now your cap 240. I think that's where most people will start playing is contender.
I just think, look at your gallery. You now have zero interest in ever buying a Premier League super rare ever again, or a Premier League rare for that matter. Because if your gallery is primarily challenger, you're now closed off to basically two-thirds of the market.
I see what you're saying.
Would you buy a Chunmin Son super rare now? No, you wouldn't.
Not right now, no. I'm trying to think. I mean, yeah, okay. I'm just thinking. I don't know if there's any way to. I mean, I guess they'll have special weeklies. Yeah, you raise an interesting point. It would be good if they could introduce something where you can win cards. No, it's not, because you wouldn't want to win a card from a different division. So, yeah, you really have to just make the decision yourself to go and start playing in that division. And like I said earlier, I might everyone's happiness depends on these reward pools that they put out. If they're terrible, if Super Rare continues to be shocking, then we're in trouble. But if the rewards in the Champion Super Rare division are just so good that it's worth me like selling all my contender and challengers and buying into Champion, I might do that. And because you can now enter multiple teams, your Sho Sasaki, you've got to have to think that a lot of people are trying to run teams in multiple leagues as well. Like, I'm assuming most galleries of a decent size will have either a couple of challenger teams and a couple of contender teams. So, yes, it might limit your liquidity a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be so severe that you can't sell a card any quicker than you can now.
Yeah. I think, for me, it's fine. I just let's look about your gallery. I mean, you probably have a bit more insight into this than I do about the super rares, because I, just from an outsider looking in, I'm not gonna pretend I'm a blue boy, but super rares are bloody hard to buy, hard to sell. They're very expensive. If you have saved up enough to get some quality super rares, but they're now split across 3 divisions, that's a pretty big slap in the face for the people who have invested heavily on the platform. And I know you've always said you got to look after the people that actually put the money on the platform. I do think people probably have a leg to stand on, that they've been a bit hard done by.
Yeah. I think, and again, not to be Hitler or anything, but there's quite a heavy tinge of this roadmap of Sorare. They're not really trying to hide the fact that they're like, we need you to spend more money, guys. You guys have just been leeching off us for 2 years. We're putting some stuff in place, and you're going to have to spend some money. And I think they have created a structure now that actually feels a bit more like a professional game. Like, it feels like something that you can really... I feel like there's a lot of ways you can sink your teeth into Sorare now, whereas previously it was like, you just play the leagues you play Cap 240, pretty one-dimensional. But now it's like, with multi-entry, the different kind of leagues that you try and promote yourself up and all that kind of stuff. I think now like I said, I feel like I want to spend more money on Sorare now, which seems weird. And I think a lot of the kind of existing users who have been playing this game for a while feel the same. They feel invigorated by it. But I think, at the end of the day, Sorare just wants us to spend more money. And what you just said is just another example of that. It's like, if you want to expand, you have to buy them.
Yeah, and they've kind of gone off the FIFA model. Like, I don't know if you're familiar, but you know, you're in divisions and you're playing people in your division. You win more games, you go up, you can get better rewards. Like, it is pretty much a carbon copy of that, which I quite like. And it's a good point. I think we probably get a little bit disillusioned. Well, I know I do, about I have ETH on the platform, right? Whether that be generated through thresholds or selling a card, or you know, every now and then in a blue moon, winning a card. I think in my mind that I'm spending money. I've just spent €90 on my Jordan Shaqiri. The thing is, Alistair, like for Sorare's point of view, I haven't spent anything. If it's all in-house money that I've generated through the game, I actually haven't spent anything. It's only when you deposit onto the platform. And it's such a good point because, like, yeah, if you just keep generating through the game, you never actually invest on the platform, they're the ones that aren't making the money.
Yeah, that's right. And I think this, if they can nail the reward pools and they can incentivize people in the right ways, if there's serious cash in those prize pools, and this kind of goes back to like back before the crash, the Sorare crash, and part of my reason for moving into super rares was like, if this becomes a game that 1 million people are playing, A, my super rares are going to be super rare, but B, they should have the income from all those users to have like just amazing prizes. And I think this is the first step towards them, like, because you now have to pay to play the tournaments that pay out cash. If they can do this well, and if people do actually come on board and play it through Rivals or whatever it might be, if that money gets fed back in and these rewards just start becoming like better and better and better, like card rewards, they might not ever get that right, but the cash side of things, you got to think there's going to be more Pranksies, more Team Bambis, more, AJs coming onto the platform because it becomes a legitimate revenue generator. Like Pranksy put out that tweet about how he won like 35 grand from the in-season tournament. And it's like, this is now that across everything in Sorare. Like, it's all about just look at all this fucking cash I won, because I went out and bought a Erling Haaland super rare.
Yeah, I think so. And we've touched on a few times about how they're transitioning away from NFTs, the more cash based, like it's more of a real reward. And I think they said that, was it 75% of their funds go into thresholds?
I don't know. I think it's a lot though. I think someone said like
a lot of their funds were going into thresholds, I think I read. So that for me that's the key, right? So like you touched on, if the rewards don't change and you finish second in All-Star Super Rare and you're winning a 20-year-old backup goalkeeper in Bundesliga 2, if that doesn't change, now that they're not giving out thresholds, like no joke, like we walk away because legitimately,
justice for Ali. Come on, guys,
stand up for you, bro.
I mean, I appreciate the support. There's a few of my mates reached out to me with their condolences after they saw the reward that I won. Gutting. We won't talk about it. I've sold him. I've moved on. It's all good. Okay, well, we're coming up to the hour now. I mean, there's so much. There's so much here. I think, and I've seen a lot of people on Twitter, kind of on behalf of regular users like us, saying Sorare have ripped off their audience. They've ripped off their core members. Like, this is such a slap in the face for the people who have built collections and built galleries over the years, because they've taken away thresholds and they've introduced a new tournament that you just happen to have to buy cards for. I don't think they could be any more wrong. I think the people like the Andrews, you and me, people who are all, in the Sorare Discord, who live and breathe this stuff. I mean, I'm talking for everyone here, but I think they're all like, the vibe I'm getting from the regular users is like, they're excited. This is good. They're like, all right, I've got to make some changes to my gallery, but it's something to do. It's a new spreadsheet to make. Like, I think overall, it's people are stoked.
Yeah, I think there's definitely positives. I might have overreacted when I first read it, but it's growing on me. I definitely see a few flaws, but I also saw a lot of flaws in the current model. And like I touched on at the start of the pod, Sorare wasn't going in a Ford's direction like it was, so something had to change, and I feel like they've addressed that, to be honest. It's either sink or swim.
Yeah. Okay, well, look, it's going to take a few weeks to decompress. I mean, it feels weird that I kind of want it just to all change now. Like, I know that would fuck so many people over, but I don't want to keep playing All-Star Rare Pro for another 6 weeks. I just want it all to happen now. I want divisions. I want reward boxes. I want it to happen immediately. But in the meantime, Simon, just to kind of keep you in the loop, so so for those out there, so we talked about how disappointing my reward has been, but it's okay. I've done what everyone should do when they win a disappointing reward. I've sold it. I've brought in some fresh, shiny boys. I didn't bring any super rares in because I didn't get enough money for this shit reward that I won. But I've bought myself a Kevin De Bruyne rare new season. I've got him paired up with my Madison. I've picked up a Meslier from Leeds, hoping that he gets a bit of a promotion next year into the Prem. And I'm in the market. I'm basically filling out I want to fill out like a Premier League team to play in the Premier League in-season tournaments. Because you're talking about can't win thresholds anymore. Where can we win cash? Right now, the best place to win cash is the Premier League competition. So I'm going all in. Going in the rares, baby.
I love it. Don't get me started. I think I'm more upset for you that you finished second in All-Star Rare, Super Rare, sorry, and you win a bad reward. That's a pretty hard thing to defend the platform over, but let's not open that can of worms because I'm still not happy about it. You're basically in the second highest division in Sorare, and you come second and win some plotter. He's a plotter, Elster.
I know. I'd love for you to, if you want to send a video message to Nicholas, just abusing him. I won't get in your way. It couldn't have happened at a better time, though, Simon. I mean, you know me. I'm an optimist. Because if everything had just stayed the same, I'd be like, well, this has fucked me now. I can't use this card. I've just got to go back to the grind. It's kind of like disappointment, now get back to work. But now I'm like, right, well, there's some new shiny things for me to chase after. There's some new strategies for me to be implementing. So now he's just... I've got the ETH for him. He's just a pawn in this new strategy, and I've got a wallet full of ETH, and I'm excited. So it's it's kind of, I moved on from that now. I've got new shiny things to look at.
That's good. You've moved on. That's nice. All right, well, let's wrap it up, Alster. I mean, good to hear that we could, get everything out in the open. We're a little bit later onto the breaking news as some other podcasts, but we've got to stay true to ourselves. We're never on time. It's just, down under time down here. So, but yeah.
Oh, Simon, by the way, what do you? I just realised left my sunglasses on for the whole episode. Oh God,
that's so awkward.
God.
Oh, Kathy.
It's so silly. Alrighty, see you, mates.
See ya.